I think if one goes back to the origins of the IISA, it actually started in 1898 in Cape Town, which this year is 118 years ago. But it eventually had its name changed some years down the track to the Insurance Institute of the Cape of Good Hope. And subsequently, other institutes were set up around South Africa, in Bloemfontein, Pretoria, Johannesburg, etc. And in 1966, those other local institutes got together and said they felt they should reformat a new IISA for South Africa as the mother institute. And in October of 1966, the new Institute of South Africa was formed in Bloemfontein, and we celebrate the 50th anniversary this year. And we'll be making a bit of a fuss about that at the conference come July. The Institute obviously has changed considerably since those days in terms of membership numbers, sponsorship support. Conference has become an international venue for networking. We've introduced CPD programs. We've become a professional registered institute in terms of SAQA, the South African Qualifications Authority, which was quite a stringent process we had to go through. And we became one of the first 40 professional bodies in South Africa in November 2012. And that's added to our status as the Insurance Institute of South Africa, being the only professional body for the short-term insurance industry in the country. So there have been a lot of milestones along the way. We've developed a lot of new courses through places like IISA, Mill Park Business School. We're currently working with people like Moonstone and others to launch more study opportunities for students across the country, some distance learning, and others that will involve face-to-face lectures. In new premises that we moved into in 2015, we now have the capacity to create a training room where we're going to run lectures, and those first lectures will start to kick off in May of this year. Our furniture for that facility arrives in the next few days. So we've evolved from a small institute that kicked off in Bloemfontein into quite a substantial institute involving 15 staff members and many, many thousands of qualified insurance professionals as professional members. I think any industry that wants to see itself as a profession has to have a professional body that sets standards, that works towards educational requirements for people in the particular industry, that is supported by all the other industry associations and bodies as the educational provider. And that's really the role IISA has adopted, and we've worked closely with all the other industry bodies. I think that a big step was when the insurance exams that students wrote were localized to South African requirements. We used to write the Chartered Insurance Institute of London exams, but it was decided so many years back that they should be South Africanized. That was a big step for the Institute. It had to create its own course material for study, set its own exams, mark them, adjudicate them, and set the right standards. So that was a big development, and it's followed on now with the courses that we offer through the various universities and colleges. Another big step was definitely the recognition of the IISA as the professional body for the short-term industry that happened in 2012. I think had we not passed the test to become a professional body in terms of SAQA, we would have gone backwards. As it has done, it's strengthened our activities and our support base. So those were two. I think the growth of the conference is a third one, where from small beginnings of 200 or 300 delegates, we now last year had 1,200 delegates. This year we're expecting about 1,500. Last year we had people from 29 countries. We had something like 390 different companies represented. So that's been a big milestone, and it's become the industry event for people to be seen at, to network at, and hopefully to take away a lot of learning from the 2 or 3 days that they spend at Sun City. And then the other two items would be the growth of our professional membership through qualification, and the tremendous support we've had from the market, the key players, insurance companies, reinsurers, brokers, underwriting managers, who are what we call corporate subscribers to the IISA, and they pay us an annual fee based on the work that we do for the insurance industry in the educational field. Well, we saw the conference growing, but it wasn't growing perhaps fast enough and covering wide enough audience, and we then approached the Financial Intermediaries Association and the South African Insurance Association to ask them to become joint partners with us for the conference. That was a significant step, and I think has led to an enhanced reputation for the conference and the industry working together to achieve the right results. As we look at the format each year and we have a debriefing session after the previous conference, we try and say, what did we do right, what did we do wrong, how do we change it? We are looking this year at panel discussions at a greater level, perhaps some breakaway groups who, because of Sun City's new physical structures that they're putting in place, we'll have room for breakaway sessions, which means we could have people running some sessions in tandem. So again, we'll cater to the needs of the members, and if they've got a specific requirement, they could attend that session and not have to sit through a general format. So the conference will need to keep evolving, to keep attracting the right people, but there's no doubt we're seeing a massive growth in the international representation of the conference. The people who believe in 2 or 3 days they can have meetings with 20 to 30 people that would take them months to see otherwise. So networking is becoming a very key component of the event, and the advantage of being at Sun City is that you have 3 days with all delegates, so there are chances to set up meetings at different times of the day or night and to turn it into a big networking event, but also to ensure that business sessions are very relevant topical issues that people are going to learn from when they attend. Technology is a huge development, and we're learning all the time, and I think things like better use of our website, the fact that we now are looking at putting together internet-based training opportunities for people to do their CPD so that they'll be able to sit at home with a laptop and listen to a lecture, follow some talk or other on a specific technical subject and earn their CPD hours in that way. We've had to find a way of delivering CPD across the country, because it's all well and good to have conferences and functions in Johannesburg, but we have members spread throughout the country and in fact throughout Africa, and in fact we have members in some 15 to 16 countries around the world. Many of those need their CPD hours, so unless you use an internet-based delivery, it would be difficult for them to meet the requirements. So technology is definitely helping with that, because it wasn't possible before. And whilst it's still expensive, we're hoping it will become cheaper and cheaper to deliver in that way. Our belief is that you have to be inclusive in this industry of all the different players. And in my own situation, when I joined the Institute, I approached all the other institutes, local institutes, other associations, industry bodies, and said that we would like to work as an inclusive institute, providing education, lectures, courses, breakfast forums, conferences, but in conjunction with everyone else and in consultation with them. So it wouldn't be that we were trying to run our own little pathway without talking to everyone else. And we found that inclusive attitude has had very positive feedback from the industry, and we think that's the way to go forward. We've seen tremendous support across the spectrum. We've also worked well with the regulators, with the officers, FSB, National Treasury, bodies like IISA, where we go through interesting periods of discussion. And we have a great association with a lot of the insurance media locally. And we've developed some good relationships with some of the international insurance media who now attend our conference as well. I think from a FAnews point of view, we've seen tremendous support from the magazine. It's given coverage to a lot of the events we run, from our breakfast forums to our other seminars to the conference to some of our activities. And we see them as an important partner with our conference and other events as spreading the message. Whilst we have our own newsletter that goes out, there's no doubt that getting through FAnews, we get to an even wider audience. So it's been a great partnership.